Hey, quickly before this video starts, if you could, there's a poll in my community post tab. If you could answer that, I'd really appreciate it. Okay, see, on to the video now. Mortal Kombat, the best fighting game franchise, right? Yeah, okay, maybe Mortal Kombat 1 wasn't as great as it seemed, but surely a little bit of DLC will do the trick. Ooh. So, yeah, Mortal Kombat 1's legacy is being tarnished by the minute. I mean, a bad DLC, characters that most people weren't asking for, recycled content only a year in, yikes. I didn't even get to play this one live like I did the main game, because the game literally wouldn't stop crashing. At least I was able to view all the cutscenes thanks to this YouTube video, because this game is so poorly optimized on PC that I'm not sure I'd even get to play through the entire thing off stream without issues. So, without further ado, this is the moment that, hopefully, all 15,000 of you have been waiting for. Khaos Reigns opens up with a familiar yellow cyborg being chased through the forest by an invisible pursuer, who is soon revealed to be the ketchup to this girl's mustard. Cyrax and Sector are no longer cybernetic ninjas, but instead these two girls in Iron Man suits. Or, I guess, Iron Woman suits would be more accurate. Sector is bullying Cyrax, but she isn't just gonna take that, so they engage in some combat. After they're done, the background disintegrates to reveal that they were actually training under Sub-Zero's watch, who is clearly playing favorites. His plan is to get revenge for getting his ass beat by Scorpion by attacking him at his wedding. Cutting to just before the wedding, we catch Raiden practicing a speech where he is interrupted by good old Johnny Cage. Yeah! Johnny! As well as Kenshi and Kung Lao. Scorpion then starts walking down the aisle with his bride, Harumi, while far too many mysterious black figures somehow pass unseen atop the walls. Just then, Sector blows through the entrance and the Lin Kuei storm the wedding. Johnny makes the usual Johnny comments.
We are not doing the Red Wedding. What? Game of Thrones! Season 3, Episode 9! God, please let her have a sister. When did the Lin Kuei go mecha anime?
Before he and Smoke pick a fight with Cyrax. They don't last too long though, letting Cyrax run over and save Harumi before she can be stabbed by Sector, arguing that Harumi hasn't done anything wrong. Scorpion starts a fight but is quickly thrown off his feet, so he reveals the truth about his brother's attempts to rule the Lin Kuei just before his wife can get herself killed. Sub-Zero, for some reason, just fully admits to this corruption, despite the fact that Cyrax is clearly starting to not trust him, and they fight over it. Then she apologizes to Scorpion and accepts her punishment, but Harumi talks her husband out of it. The boys decide to leave the punishments of Sub-Zero and Sector up to Mileena, who has become the new Empress of Outworld after Sindel's death. Mileena wants them dead, but Liu Kang talks her into showing a little bit of mercy. Just then, a portal opens up and out steps a dozen characters from an alternate timeline. At the head of them all is Titan Havoc, seen in the post-credit scene of the main story. Also, side note here on the topic of Titans, supposedly every character from the end of Mortal Kombat 11 became a Titan in their own separate universe. So, you're telling me not a single other character from this roster became evil and tried to take over the multiverse? Havoc wasn't even in MK11! Anyways, back to the story. Havoc explains that he was recruited by MK11 Shang Tsung at the Pyramid and was fascinated to learn of alternate timelines that could be destroyed. Like a stereotypical multiversal villain, Titan Havoc wants to destroy every other single timeline. Come on, guys, how did we forget a K in the subtitles this time? Havoc's goons start to... I don't even know what's going on here, in an attempt to kidnap Geras, and then an all-out battle starts in the throne room. Sub-Zero breaks free of his handcuffs within 2 seconds, proving that he could have done that the entire time, and then he frees Sector, who picks a fight with some Chaos characters. Meanwhile, Titan Havoc impedes the boys' attempts to free Geras.
When I return, there will be anarchy.
And they missed a perfect opportunity to say chaos. Sub-Zero goes in for the kill just before the portal closes, which stops Sector's weapons from firing, and then finds himself in the twisted ruins of Havoc's timeline.
I hope you are fond of chaos.
There you go! Still forgetting a K though. Mileena then begrudgingly accepts Liu Kang's request to keep Sector alive through the current crisis, and we cut back to Sub-Zero being dragged through a hall filled with dead warriors. Geras is seen with some needles extracting some time crystals out of him, and then after Sub-Zero is chained up, Titan Havoc goes on some monologue about Kami Dogus or whatever. Basically, Geras' time crystals plus Kami Dogus equals reality manipulation. After his monologue, Titan Havoc begins to torture Sub-Zero in an attempt to perfect him. The main group is then seen planning their next moves, and it is decided that the Lin Kuei will go to save Sub-Zero, against Scorpion's wishes, and probably rightfully so because of the massive smirk that Sector puts on right after being released. Following that, we see the Lin Kuei walk along the streets of the Chaos Dimension where they spot a resisting Lieutenant Jonathan Cage.
Johnny got that cake on him.
Who leads a resistance against Havoc. Sector steps in and takes out the Chaos combatants before they can kill Jonathan, and he gets a little bit of a crush, but unfortunately she doesn't seem to take it well. Jonathan steps forward and says that he's been transported from fighting Hitler in France to here, and also introduces the group to his Emperor friend Rain. The group discusses getting into Havoc's Citadel, and then you're met with a glimpse into what the Kang Dynasty would have been like if Jonathan Majors didn't beat his girlfriend. Amongst the combatants is Emperor Rain's Tanya, and then Chaos Kenshi throws in the group as well since he notices them before the battle. The gang fight it out against a horde of chaotic contestants before being chased through a hallway which turns out to be filled with a bunch of Havoc's little saw traps. After a wall separates them, Rain fights Li Mei and Reiko before rounding a corner and being forced to fight them again, this time ending with an execution. As they go into the next room, Havoc forces them to go through a door or be crushed by some closing walls. During this sequence, Sector wastes valuable time by pounding on the metal door instead of just lockpicking it right away, so Rain has to blast the walls with water to hold them back. Then Rain stands there and shares a sentimental moment with Tanya despite the fact that he very well could have just walked forward and followed them through the door instead of violently being crushed to death. The two speak about the dispute back in Sector's timeline before being spooked by a massive chained-up dragon. Shortly after they engage in combat with a Mileena and Katana variant, and then while Tanya calms the dragons, Chaos Kenshi somehow telepathically reads her thoughts through a camera. Somehow calming the dragon works, and it has a conversation with Tanya while the others catch up. The dragon opens a portal for the gang, and Havoc's fans start booing, so he tries to destroy the portal, but everyone makes it in first. Scorpion and Cyrax have a short thanking and forgiveness exchange before a mysterious shadow steps forward. Bihan introduces his shadowy self to Sector, now reborn as Noob Saibot. Tanya takes down a few more Chaos competitors. Scorpion gets into a short argument with Sector, and the gang runs into Noob at the entrance that they need to go into. After a short tussle with Scorpion, Noob is defeated by Tanya, and the gang continue into the chamber which holds Geras. They free Geras and collect all the Kami Dogu, and right as Havoc rushes in, they teleport away. In a fit of rage, Havoc commits some second-degree murder and plants his ambush on the main timeline. Cutting back to the main gang, Liu Kang uses some of his god magic and the Kami Dogu to calm Bihan back to his original state of mind. What a great way to immediately remove the cooler villain, Netherrealm. Havoc begins to rain some chaos across the main character's defenses, and even somehow steals back the Kami Dogu, which were supposed to be hidden away in a spot where he couldn't get them. Thanos then claims all of his Infinity Stones and leaves his Chitauri horde to fend off the gang while he goes to destroy half of the... Oh shit. Oh, I'm sorry guys. That was the wrong script. In the meantime, Noob quarrels with Scorpion about his ego as he defeats some of Havoc's lackeys. As Havoc tries to destroy the timeline, Netherrealm pulls a less cool Avengers Endgame and a war starts between the champions and the Chaos Assistants. Listen, I'm sorry guys. There's only so many other things I can replace the word characters with. Literally almost all the enemies you fight are just stupid chaos versions of everyone. As the heroes surround Havoc, he tears off his arm, which turns into a clone, who tears off his arm, creating another clone, who tears off his arm. Clone, clone, clone. God, the enemies in this DLC are so fucking boring. Noob Saibot kicks Havoc's ass and begins to continuously rip off his limbs before Liu Kang tries to stop him. Geras freezes Bihan so he stops trying to fight Liu Kang. Sector's given a free pass from Mileena's anger. Somehow, Havoc doesn't regrow his limbs and try to kill everyone with the Infinity Stones that are still lodged in his chest, and then that question is completely thrown out the window because we just jump cut to Noob Saibot being taken away in a coffin to a safe spot. The final scene features a more relaxed Cyrax finally seen outside of her cyber suit, being finally forgiven by Kuai Liang. So yeah, that's just about everything that goes down in this Nothing Burger DLC. They just repeated the story from the main game, except worse. Unless you're Havoc's #1 fan, I genuinely don't see how you could find this to be a good expansion to the story. How are they even gonna do Mortal Kombat 2? There's only so many multiversal villains before it gets boring, and if you don't do a multiversal threat, then what's the point? It's still gonna be boring because the main characters have already proved they're capable of taking down somebody of that power level and... Multiverses are stupid. And don't even get me started on these damn DLC characters. I mean, Ghostface is fine, but Terminator? We just had Terminator! That was already in the last Mortal Kombat game, and Conan the Barbarian, he hasn't been relevant for like fucking forever! What are they thinking?